What is going on? I'm Zedmont, slightly sick Zedmont, but nonetheless, we are going to jump into all of the warships now. First and foremost, you know the drill. Code Zedmont over there in that shop. In case you missed it, I showed you a couple days ago how to avoid not having a squad leader. Spoiler alert, just don't use this slot right here, and all is well in the world now. I have been on a bit of a downward slide. I do have the 3 shock launchers, but that didn't do a heck of a lot for me because I am still just using all heavies with brick. Now, there is a turning point here. I've just made it there. I think we're going to find out together, but that troop damage right there should make things fast again. Now, we're going to find out. We'll find out right here together. Don't need to show you my old attacks because 80% troop damage with just heavies, not super duper quick. It's quick enough to win a bunch, but not quick enough to get back in diamond. So now we will see just how fast we can be. So I am using this right-hand ramp over here. It is doing well for me generally. Don't have any cannons or boom cannons up there, so we can send our minesweeper out first, and then this guy, and then you over there, and then just dropping all of the things. We do have shocks, but don't really need to use them all that terribly much. And now that things are starting to move in the right direction, we're just going to send all of those guys running. And I don't really have a good answer as far as when you should be using shocks. I try to use them when I get near a doom cannon or something that's going to take more than a couple of my troops at a time. And so now let's just get our meat out front. That should be the name of this season, really, is just leading with your meat. Maybe that would be a good one. We're gonna get, again, meat out front, just constantly getting the meat going. And then let's get our meat over here, and we'll throw a shock on that doom cannon just because doom cannons are dangerous and scary and bad and all the rest of it. And now we are flying through this space, so we're gonna send you over there to clear a bunch of mines, and then probably should have shocked that doom cannon again, and I was wondering why I didn't have a shock available to me. Now let's just get a shock down here because brick is dead and we don't need anything else out of our GBE, and then trying to get back here, and we're gonna end up a little bit slower than we should have been because don't have brick and we let brick die, but fast enough that we should be okay. So if any of you are still using brick, and oh, by the way, while we're talking about still using brick, there's a good question by Daniel. No, I did not stutter. That is his name. If you have brick, wherever the heck our good friend Brick is, I've had her for so long now, I've forgotten where she was. Over here, don't go back and get Kavan. This is one of those, I think every season, generally speaking, is you don't want 2 heroes. 42 keys is just too many keys. You just need to accentuate what you have, which, if you have Kavan, maybe you're going to keep going forwards towards heavy choppa and you don't need that troop damage, or maybe you go get the building damage because you want to just absolutely wreck people's day. But if you've got brick, you probably need that troop damage, as we have to see where it's just like losses. Shout out to Supreme Ruler. I think that's Paul on Telegram, I think, maybe. Papa Wigs, Daniel, like we were talking about. Like I said, I was beating most of these players, some of these players, and now just was lagging. So shout out to all of them who crushed me, and now we should be back on the crushing side of the ball. What the heck that last opponent was doing, I don't know. No one leaves 4 engine rooms up for me. But here's a good example of where using shocks might be a good idea. So what I like to do is drop this guy over here because he is going to get us some good value. And then we're going to drop the minesweeper dude. And now brick needs to be dropped on the left because otherwise what ends up happening is you use your battle orders at shore and she doesn't hit that right-hand side dude, and then bad things happen. So we are going to throw a shock right about there just to make gosh darn sure that all of our troops get moving forwards as we get our meat way out front onto that boom cannon guy, and then probably should be sending our Zuka fan. And I've heard a bunch of you guys call all of these things by various different names, and I get a kick out of the name. I think Mojo Joe was talking about the red hero, and you guys are calling them heroes, which I find to be quite funny. No one's calling them squad leaders. I mean, maybe you are, and if you are, do let me know, but the majority of you guys are calling these guys heroes. So we have deployed 4 heroes in this battle, according to some of you, and now we just need to get all of our troops over into this neighborhood, and we're going to throw a shock in about there and then battle orders. And you need to watch your GBE. Watching some people's hits yesterday, watching people throw a smoke when they took a shock away from themselves, and we could in fact flare all of this stuff onto that engine room to go slightly faster using those hero flares or squad leader flares or whatever the heck you want to call it. You guys have been asking for hero flares for a while. Now, with squad leader flares, I'm not sure if those have become irrelevant or not. Do you want a specific flare to be added to your hero as well? I kinda do. That, to me, would be awesome on an operation attack to be able to send bullet off to one direction. But how does that work, my friends? Because if we have a look on our attack here, let's just do a quick attack here. If we drop brick over here, that is now bricks. If we can't just flare, because that is her ability. So maybe, I don't know. Would love to hear your thoughts on that. Would it be an extra button? Are hero flares now irrelevant? And one other question, I'm flying on these questions here, that a bunch of you had is, will the heavy chopper drop squad leaders? And the answer sadly is no, because you need to assign a squad leader to a landing craft, and that is only available to heavies, not to heavy choppers. So maybe in future that seems a little bit overpowered and ridiculous, but I like overpowered and ridiculous. So again, comments. I come up with these crazy ideas, I distill your ideas, and then before I send them along to the dev team, I double check with you guys to make sure that I am not crazy. Because sometimes you guys come back, sometimes you guys come back and you're like, Zed, you have forgotten some important details, and that is where this community is so gosh darn good. Having a community that comes back and says, nope, you've forgotten something, is fantastic. And that's why a lot of the times on my sneak peeks I do miss some things, because it's just me in a vacuum by myself. And vacuum chambers, as those of you who are on Facebook are well aware, are not the most good things at many times. So we are going to shock. Do we need to shock? I don't think we do need to shock. We're just going to let our meat get slightly further out front, and then just burning through all of this stuff. The shock launchers doing decent work, but let's be honest, you can't shock because our heavies are just spread out so gosh darn wide that it really doesn't matter what does in fact happen. So Zukafan going left, all of this stuff moving along fairly well. Pretty darn happy with how our troops just kind of go where they need to, and then we just get a battle orders, and then as that left hand side engine room goes down, we're gonna flare over to this right. Might as well shock a sniper tower just because, and we're getting some decent times again. Excuse me, 235 against Ratchet and Clank. Good old timey game, and they are gonna fizzle by the looks of things. Seeing some weird, you should not be fizzling, especially with Kavan, but you can see here suddenly on the up and up. There's been a bunch of that this season where you just have to wait and take it, and that is where I am quite thankful for the fact that Diamond is only 2 extra keys. That change right there, I'm pretty darn happy with that. It just means that you don't end up parking and hanging out quite as much as you used to. For one, this season, I'm just playing. I'm not sitting with like 21.12 and doing one attack every 8 hours. I'm trying to be done with that. Just trying to never do that again, because those are the worst seasons in my mind. So we're going to get you up there. Come on, get going, meaty dude. And then just getting all of this stuff. And again, bringing Brick over to this left-hand side and holding the Zuka, the mine-clearing dude, because generally speaking, it will die. That is the most fragile of these heroes, of these squad leaders. So trying our darndest to just keep those guys from dying, because they are super, super useful when they can stay alive, and it's not terribly often they can stay alive unless you do a little bit of extra work, as we're going to watch them head over in this direction and probably die. There we go, about to get shot in the dome, right on cue. And yes, I probably could have used a shock to keep them alive, but then I would have had one fewer battle orders, and we definitely want all of our battle orders. And why I'm saying it with that extra zzz, I don't really know, but troop damage. Troop damage makes everything more fun, and I know there are some players out there who have grinded, and I mean absolutely grinded their way to 7 engine rooms already, and as a result, they are just using tanks and heavies, and I definitely applaud those players who have chosen pain and suffering. There are many, many paths this season. What the heck? Why is everyone... And there are pockets of players who are just having a bad time, and you guys know that. There are times where there are super beast players on, and if you don't know that, please know, if all of a sudden you're losing and you've got a base that you know is good and your attack times are good, just take a minute. There are some times where there are better chances of winning on. It seems crazy, but I don't know if it's because certain time zones have better players, and there are definitely some theories about time zones in that way, but just take a minute, take a breath, go do War Factory, go play a different aspect of the game, and you're gonna have decent results just by default. It's crazy how that tends to go. For me, it is just before chest collecting time. I feel like the players who are best are kind of like hiding, waiting for chests. So if you have not gone 6 out of 6 on the season, maybe don't play nearly as much when it is time to collect chests. You just end up playing better players. And we're going to get our meat out in front of our troops. And there's no innuendo intended. If you're seeing an innuendo there, that's on you. That's not me. You have the dirty mind, not me, my friends. Moving forwards and trying to keep this win streak alive. Definitely not doing as well here. We've got Brick, little bit. Now, how do we get over? You know what? I was about to flare to that right side engine room. We definitely don't want that. We're going to send you guys over here, trying to clear our path ahead of us, and then just going. Get going, dudes. We can probably throw a shock about there. Getting all of our guys. That was a very, very useful shock that's going to hopefully get all of our troops onto that engine room before all of those buildings destroy all of our troops. Got a little bit lucky there that the Zuka fan was not in there. Saw him coming through our shock in advance, and heavy rushing this late in the season would not have been possible without the enhancement of this right here. Where the heck is it? Where is that heavy boost? I keep scrolling too far. Right about there. That heavy boost this season is 69%. In previous seasons, it was 50%, and that is, I think, 36% on the health side and 33% on the damage side. So if you are using heavies, do know that that is going to be a major, major factor when those buses come out. So if you're rushing forward to buses, do keep this node right here in mind, because it is going to make your heavies that much more ridiculously strong. So if you're thinking about going back for artillery, if you're thinking about going back for extra troop health or something like that, reminder, the buses are coming. The buses are coming. The buses are coming. And every season, people are surprised by the fact that people can bus rush. And I am well set up for bus rushing, so I will be going there. We've got the heavy boost, we've got Brick's battle orders, we've got 130% troop damage. So on this account, you know exactly where I am going. Should be very, very, very obvious at this point. Now, though there's a lot of mines on that right-hand side that we can simply avoid. So that is exactly what we are going to do. We're going to put our meat out in front. We're going to get all of this stuff over here. And I'm just going to ignore all of those right-hand side mines. And we're just going to shock about there. And then just battle orders. And we're going to flare onto that just to get our troops moving in that right direction. And then we should be good-ish. Just need our troops to clear those shock mines. They're going to head around. We're going to send our meat up to about there to try and keep all of this stuff alive. And now we've got a couple dudes that we're just going to write off. The rest of them are generally heading in the right direction. No idea where Brick is. Again, meat out front. Need that meat to get going. This base is very, very, very odd. And those guys are actually going to make the turn as well by the looks of things. So this bottom engine room, we've got good stuff happening there. We've got all of our stuff moving. Did all of them make it? No. We had a couple casualties there. And now just get us a battle orders. We're very, very close to it. There we go. There's our battle orders. And then finally onto that engine room. Maybe throw a shock back there because why not? And this guy, he never stops working. Just going everywhere, doing good things for us. So if you can keep that Minesweeper dude alive, he is just an absolute beast. And Laser Rangers just getting wrecked by us. So that is good. I don't think we're gonna get another fizzle, but we are gonna get a fizzle because they are sick and tired of dealing with our base. So we are gonna be close. No, we're going to be back in Diamond. Huzzah. So 130 troop damage, making all of the difference. Now I just need to keep going and get into 22, so I got a little bit of leeway. Tech tree working. Base also working. Definitely could use a couple tweaks, but if you want to use this base, I can't remember who designed it. It was not me. I'll zoom in. I'll move that rocket launcher so that you can take a screenshot and get all of those squares and details. And a bunch of you asked why I move a defense, because it's way easier if you have the grid to see where things go, I think. Anyways, that is the video for today. Still working on my engraver, desperately trying to get my armor up, getting neither of them. Spending a bunch of shards, and task force wise, we are now doing duplexity daily. So armor just making all of the difference in the world. 25-person task force, duplexity, and yes, these ones look like, let's just do a little zoomy zoom, shall we? Looking like we are failing. If you notice, Forlorn Hope 1822, duplexity is 2160. All of these, we are getting more than Forlorn Hope. So, operations broken in a big, big way. 50-person task forces have become basically irrelevant. It's, by the way, Boggers United, fantastic task force. Look at that, Code ZMod. Yeah, it's me. Such a great task force, just letting me hang out in there, and I've been in there for quite some time doing mediocre hits with them. So big shout out to Bad Fee. I shall talk to you soon, though. Like, share, subscribe. Code ZMod in the shop in all Supercell games. Get your submarine diving. More importantly, comment, comment, comment. I'm ZMod. Thanks for coming in. Peace.